This is the best reason to play Cataclysm Classic hands down. Archaeology is the new secondary profession coming in Cataclysm Classic, and if there's any OGs who leveled archaeology, you remember this just as well as I do. Welcome back to another video. In today's video we'll be covering the best reason to play Cataclysm when they or if they decide to release it. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, as our goal is by the end of April is 500 subscribers. Or don't, you don't have to. All I want you to do is enjoy the content, so let's get started. Do you remember flying around Azeroth, going to dig site, hoping to get the rare item that you're going for? In this video we'll be going over the cool and unique items that quite possibly represented the first phase of Cataclysm Classic. I do want to start and say, if you did not level archaeology back in the day, you really missed out, so consider watching the video to the end, as I have some valuable information since Wrath of the Lich King TBC Classic has really dived into a parse community. I suspect archaeology will be released on the pre-patch of Cata, so prior to its release, this may be just as valuable as time off from work as the release day of Cataclysm Classic. There's a lot of novelty items or pre-bis or even bis for phase 1 just from archaeology. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the pets and cool stuff you can get, saving the bind on account items or just the insanely powerful gear for last. Disclaimer, this won't be a video on how to do archaeology, just the items you can get from it. Alright, first up is the fossils category. All of these are in the rare items in the fossil archaeology, and these all vary from how many fragments you need to complete. Ancient amber encases you in a block of amber, considered a toy, as you see in the background playing. And the two pets, which are great for all you pet collectors, but to top it all off for all collectibles, is the mount, the fossilized raptor. If this releases on the pre-patch and you magically get this mount, you might just want to sit in Dalaran, Stormwind, or Orgrimmar to show it off before the release, and screw the rest of the leveling. Alright, the next up is the Dwarf archaeology. It includes the Innkeeper's Daughter, which is just another Hearthstone, a clockwork gnome, another cool unique pet, and as you see in the video, a chalice being another toy that summons 4 dwarves to dance in front of you, which is pretty neat. Alright, next up we have the Night Elf artifacts. The first one is Bones of Transformation, which turns you into a cool Naga, a Druid and Priest statue, spawns a green light surrounding your character, and then a Highborn Soul Mirror, a mirror reflecting of your character, which is playing now, and then Caldori wind chimes that you probably just make you do a quick emote. Alright, next up we have the Troll artifacts, starting with the Haunted War Drum, as you see on the screen, and a Voodoo figurine. The drum summons an obvious drum, and if I remember correctly, you can right click it for the audio, and the figurine being another pet. Alright, next is the Draenei artifacts. The first one is the Arrival of the Naru. Shows you the arrival of the Naru, as the description says. Not much else to it, just a neat little toy. And the last relic of Argus, a pretty cool one. It will teleport you to a random destination in the world. Alright, now we're on to Vrykul and nerubian artifacts. Starting off with the Blessing of the Old God, a really cool one, turning into a green silithid for 20 seconds with a short 10-minute cooldown, as you see on screen. The Puzzle Box of Yogg Saron, a cool novelty item I never knew what this one did. And then the Vrykul Drinking Horn, a nice toy that increases your size. Now we're going to get into the bind on account items and powerful gear you can get from archaeology. Then a really cool one you may not have remembered at the very end. These items may include pre-bis or bis items, can't be certain as we are not there yet. First up we have the Scimitar of Sirocco, a one-handed sword with strength on it. Tyronda's favorite doll, a very good trinket for healers it seems, and the Staff of Sorcerer Thane Thessarian, a great staff for casters and healers. Very cool items. Next we have a very famous Zenroke, Destroyer of Worlds. I know the stats aren't matching the Cataclysm stats, but once again we're just showcasing what you can get. This sword is and was highly sought after by many melee classes, and if you had this, well, you just had a great reputation. Next is the Headdress of the First Shaman. If I remember correctly, I never used this due to helmet bind on account, but it's still an option. Extinct Turtle Shell is a nice shield that you may find early on to help with gearing up. Next we have the Scepter of the Az-Akir. I don't remember anyone having this back in the day, but still a really cool ground mount if you can get your hands on it, and if you're just that lucky. And then next is the Staff of the Emune, another caster healer staff, and the Ring of the Boy Emperor, a huge caster ring I remember grinding my mage and finally getting it. Just a huge nice ring that casters will be working towards. And there we have it, just one more to go. I'm sure you can guess what it is by what's playing. If I missed any, be sure to let me know in the comments. And before I get into the next one, make sure you're subscribed. You're definitely not getting this one in Cataclysm. I'm only kidding. This is last but not least the Vial of Sands Dragon Mount. This is a mount you actually turn into, and someone can hop on your back, making this the first 2-person flying mount. Very cool. This comes from the Canopic Jars in archaeology. Alright guys, well that wraps up this video. Be sure to let me know in the comments what you remember from archaeology and what you're planning on grinding for when it releases. Consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next one.